Good morning, church family. I'm so sorry we can't be with you for worship today, but I hope you're having a wonderful time with Howard and Marilyn and the music team and just a sweet time of fellowship today. I do want to give you some updates on how Seoul went, as well as share some prayer requests for this week that I really appreciate your prayer support for. So first of all, Seoul was just an incredible opportunity. What a privilege to be on the steering committee with some of these folks with Lausanne Global Partners. We had a couple of the top executives of Lausanne with us, as well as some people, really neat people from all over the world. We had wonderful times of worship and prayer and strategic thinking together. We had a great business leader there who's a believer, who partners with Patrick Lincioni. Some of you may know that name. He's written a number of business books, and so one of his colleagues was with us and doing some training with us on how to get the most out of these meetings, which was really helpful, will be helpful for me beyond just this time in Seoul. But as far as the primary objective, I think we made really good progress. Philip, who is the executive over Global Partnerships for Lausanne, seemed very happy with the time. He's going to be following up with us on the next steps and bringing all this, the feedback that he got and the thinking together. But beyond just the primary objective, God often has, secondary and tertiary things in mind when he's at work that we don't even see. And it was really incredible as I'm there realizing 2 weeks before this, I don't realize I'm going to Seoul, and yet God was setting up all these pieces to where while I'm there, and I can't even get through the tip of the iceberg on the things I see God doing through this time in Seoul. But just some quick examples. While I'm there, I get to meet with our people on the ground that are helping us with MICN's global gathering for next year. And we made some really good progress. We now have a location in mind. We now have a hotel in mind that's owned by believers that may give us a really good discount. Beyond that, I have a friend now who is a pastor with about 100,000 members in the Philippines. And he's talking about wanting to get involved in some of the investment as mission stuff we're doing on a very big level. The pastor from Nairobi Chapel, we had a great time talking, really liked him. We're helping with some church plants now in Toronto and elsewhere through MICN that Nairobi Chapel's doing. But also we'll be discussing some political ministry that we can cooperate on across East Africa now, taking Uganda and Kenya and other places together. You may be familiar with the very sad state of things in Nairobi this last week and a number of deaths with the protesters. And so there's some real need here to minister and to train up politicians of character, and some opportunities are showing themselves. And anyway, I could go on about the things that came out. There's so many things just going in my mind now, but I was just like, wow, God had this in mind for me to be here surely far in advance. The people that I'm running into, and how God put all this together, it was clearly where He wanted me, and yet I didn't know. And I offer that as an encouragement to all of you that God will make a way where He wants there to be a way. And so sometimes we don't see what God's going to do. We don't even see what He's up to, but He's always working. He's always working in the background. And when we think things are impossible or we don't see how things are going to work, He can bring something out of left field, as we would say, that we never expected. His ways aren't our ways. So it was just encouraging. It was just a great reminder to me of just how important it is to walk by faith. Because if we walk in obedience and we go where God calls us to go, He'll open the doors that need to be opened. We don't have to worry. We need to be good stewards, but we don't have to worry always about, but how am I going to make this work? Because it's ultimately in God's hands. We are called to obedience and faithfulness. Jesus says, follow me. And as we follow Him, He makes the way. He parts the seas. And anyway, that was just a big encouragement in my own life, my own spiritual life this last week, of just being reminded of that my dependency is on Him, not even on these people I'm meeting, but on Him. And He's the one that's going to then provide the way that wherever He wants me to walk. He's the one that orders our steps, right? It's like Proverbs tells us that we trust in the Lord and with all our hearts, and He'll make our way straight. So in addition to that, though, let me bring us now to where I'm at now. So I left Seoul, and I had a 44-hour journey door to door. It was brutal. It was literally, I left the Marriott in Seoul, which, Lausanne was very generous with us. They paid all the costs, the hotel, everything, even the airport transfers. But they got me a cab, and I left there, and it was the equivalent of 6 a.m. Houston time on Thursday, and I landed here and got to the house at 2 a.m. Saturday Houston time. So that's 44 hours door-to-door travel. So wasn't feeling the best, and my suitcases didn't arrive. And on top of that, on my flight from Amsterdam over to Atlanta, I got a text from Scotty that she had tested positive for COVID, and so had her dad and her sister. So definitely not the start to the trip that we expected. So we appreciate your prayers for them to get better, for me to stay healthy. We're not staying in the same house. I did get Ellie today. She's been testing negative for COVID, and she wanted to join us at the healthy house. So she's over here. But we do appreciate prayers for all of us and for quick recovery. It's never fun to spend your vacation sick, of course. But there's also some ministry things on this week. So today, Sunday, later today, I'm having lunch with some donors from MICN, and we've got a specific need that I need to ask some donations for, and it's $5,000 plus. And so just prayers for favor and for God to open the door there for this MICN need that I'm going to be bringing up to them. And then on Monday, so tomorrow morning, Houston time, myself and Bill Frank, and some of you know Bill, he used to be a deacon at North Sea, but he's the treasurer for MICN. We are going to meet with the president of the Stoller Foundation and with the case manager. We are in the process of pursuing a grant for Hanoi International Fellowship and for their new building out there. And we're asking for about $1 million. Now, we don't know how that's going to go, but we have some great favor from one of the trustees who was actually born in Vietnam and evacuated when he was a toddler. His family evacuated, and he has a real heart for his country of birth. And so he is trying to push for us. And so this is a huge step to meet the president of the organization, of the foundation, to meet the case manager. But of course, I want to get this right, you know, and so Bill and I will be there and wanting to put our best foot forward in hopes that we're paving the way to see this grant come through later this year. And then on Tuesday, I actually am going to have a meeting with Stuart Stemple, who's the gentleman who founded HIF, the Church in Hanoi, who I told you guys about a few weeks ago, the incredible story of living next to the vice president. Some of you will remember that. So that's just a great chance to meet with him. He has recently accepted a position on the Global Vision Board for MICN. I'm really excited to have his continued input and just to build our relationship deeper. So appreciate your prayers this week, again, for health and for these funding opportunities, for these connections, relationships, as we continue to develop for international church ministry around the world. And also, I'm actually hoping the Stoller Foundation will help us with some of our work in Malawi, that once we have the relationship solidified for Hanoi, that we can go back to them and ask for some funding to help get more of the families in Malawi into sustainable situations, as well as we actually have a vision to build a piggery, a pig farm, that will create sustainability for Bishop Christopher Capito's ministry down there that we work with and that does the feeding. So I'm hoping that by establishing a relationship, that will then open the door to ask for a grant for that as well. So please appreciate now as Sam comes back up, if he'll lead you all in praying for us, and I'll be praying that you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week ahead, and we look forward to connecting next week. God bless you.